everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amy and I am on a financial freedom journey with my family. Today I am filming a really exciting video, which is the first in a series that I'm going to be starting on my channel in 2025. That is our budget and debt review that I am really excited to bring to my channel. This is something that I've been thinking of for quite a while. I get messages all the time for people wanting my help with looking at their financial situation, but I've never felt comfortable like giving financial advice or offering coaching because I am not a trained professional. I am merely a regular mom who has learned about personal finance on the side. So coaching and things like that has never been on my radar, but I thought that this would be a fun way for me to offer this for free and just be able to help you guys one-on-one and also share the insights with the channel and also give these individuals the benefit of this community and you guys in the comments voicing your thoughts and opinions as well. So today we are going to be doing our very first budget review. I created this small form for myself to go through while we are looking through this person's situation. It includes some information that I asked in the form that I have. If you guys are interested in doing one of these, I will leave the link to the form in the bio. If you guys want to apply, there's no cost or anything. Just hit the button and fill out the form if you want to. I will leave most things completely anonymous. So if you guys are interested, go check that out down below. But I do have this quick little form that I created to discuss with you guys. I will also be going over a monthly budget for this individual and also a debt tracker for this individual because this person does have some debt. So we will be going over all of these. If you guys are interested in either of these forms, these are available in my Etsy shop. The debt tracker is a part of my debt payoff bundle and the monthly budget is a part of my budget bundle. So both of these are available in my Etsy shop if you guys are interested. So we will go through the budget intake first. Alex is 32 years old and she lives in Pennsylvania. Her current occupation is a freelance program coordinator and an administrative assistant. So she does have 2 jobs. She is engaged and her annual gross income is about $45,000. Now she does reference in there that she could make more because of her freelance, but this is realistically what she will be able to bring in 2025. So that is the income that we will be using for her. Her short-term financial goals and priorities are stabilization, building her emergency fund, and also coming up with a plan for her student loans. Her current debt is $44,000 and she has about $481 in monthly payments. And this is made up of both a car and student loans. There is actually a unique situation with the car, which I will discuss more in the debt tracker portion of this video, but she does not solely own this car. It is a car owned by her and her fiance. So the portion of the debt that I included in here is her half of the loan that she has to pay back. And then, like I said, she has student loans as well. Her current savings is $4,800 in an emergency fund. Her current investments are about $48,000, and that is comprised of money in a Roth IRA, a rollover IRA, and a 403b. Her biggest financial struggle is eating out, which if you guys have been on my channel for a while, you know that that is absolutely a shared struggle because I definitely struggle with eating out as well. And her long-term financial goal is to find a good solution for her long-term housing. She discussed in her form that her and her fiance are currently renting and they're not really sure what they want to do long-term, but they do want to keep their housing as low as possible, which I think is a great plan. So let's go ahead. We are going to start actually with the debt tracker. So let me go ahead and pre-fill that out and then we'll come back to discuss the debt. All right, so let's go ahead and go over Alex's debt and kind of talk through my thoughts looking at these. So I did put these in a priority order that I think makes sense, which would be to pay them off from highest interest rate to lowest, which would be the avalanche method. Now, I don't normally recommend this necessarily for everyone, but I think in this situation when there is a pretty good array of interest rates, I think that this makes the most sense. I'm going to leave the car loan down here separate because I want to talk about that separately in a minute. Let's focus on the student loans for now. So Alex currently has her student loans on a repayment plan based on her income. So she is paying $232 a month on her student loans right now. And I did run these into a calculator just to calculate the amount of interest that she's paying every single month. So I'm actually going to allocate this section over here to do the interest that she's paying on these every single month on the side here, just so that we can talk through that. So for this highest interest rate loan, she is paying $35 a month roughly in interest. For the middle one, she's paying roughly $101 in interest. And for the lowest interest, she is paying approximately $14 in interest. So I just wanted to calculate this out so that we could kind of see what progress she is able to make every single month. So that totals up to about $151 per month. So while she's paying $232, she's actually only making roughly $80 worth of progress every single month. So while I know student loans were not her number one priority, I know that she did want a plan to pay these back. I personally would focus on doing a avalanche method like I have listed here, starting with this 6830 balance and trying to get this down if possible. First, I would focus on the emergency fund, which we'll talk about in the budget. But once you have a comfortable emergency fund, and that will vary based on obviously everyone's preference. She didn't explicitly say how much exactly she wanted her emergency fund to be, but we can talk about that more when we go through the budget. But once we get the emergency fund in a really good spot, I would definitely focus on trying to pay off these student loans because, like I said, they are charging $151 in interest every single month, and we are barely making progress with this monthly payment. So if we can, I would recommend tackling these in this order, especially because of the 6% interest rate. I think anything over 4% you really want to tackle. That's just my opinion, and I'm pretty debt averse, so take that with a grain of salt. But that is my solution for this problem, is focus on this first one, knock this one out. That should lower your payment too once you can knock this one out, and then you can put all of that money towards this larger one in the middle here. Now, the reason I did not include this car loan in that plan, which I normally would, is because it is a shared loan between her and her fiance. So that adds a lot of complexity to this. And Alex, I'm hoping you're watching this video. I would recommend having a conversation with your fiance and trying to come up with a plan to tackle this one together once you maybe are married. I'm not sure of your timeline of getting married, but I would definitely come up with a plan, because while you could tackle this and start paying towards this, especially because it is almost a 6% interest rate, even if you were to pay off what you owe, he would still have a balance left, and then he would have to take this whole, I'm assuming the payment is about $500 between the two of you if this is split evenly. So then he would have to pay the full $500, because you would be, paid off. So this is one that I would temporarily put on hold until you can talk to him and come up with a plan. I would definitely recommend, once you combine finances, to redo this entire exercise, or if you are planning on combining finances, I should say. I'm not sure, she didn't disclose if she is planning on combining finances once they are married, but I would recommend that. Personally, I do recommend that married couples generally combine finances unless there's a certain reason why maybe you would not want to. But my husband and I, we combine our finances, so I would recommend, if you are going to be combining finances, to come up with a plan for this car loan together, because there's really no point in you paying off what you owe, because the car loan won't actually be paid off, if that makes sense. So this is a very unique situation. If I were you, Alex, I would focus on these student loans. First, I would focus on the emergency fund. Once you're in a good spot with that, I would allocate all of your extra resources towards trying to get these student loans tackled and just get them over with. Honestly, I feel like even though they're not huge interest rates, personally for me, I would just like to get them wiped out as quickly as possible. So that is my thoughts on the debt portion of this. Let's go ahead and go over her monthly budget. All right, so let's go ahead and discuss Alex's budget. Now, I did input the numbers exactly as she had given them to me. Now, I actually did not include the Roth IRA and the emergency fund, but she did put in here she wanted to do $500 for the Roth and $150 in the emergency fund monthly. So I'm actually going to just include that quickly because I forgot. So $657 minus the $500 minus the $150 would give this is $650, and then the total remaining is $7. So I did just input this already because I do want to just talk through some of these numbers. So I do think that there's some work that we can do here to kind of free up some more money and potentially put more towards this emergency fund. And let's talk through it together. So if we go up to our income here, Alex brings in roughly $2,450 from her freelance position and roughly $1,320 from her admin part-time job. So that brings her total monthly take home to $3,770. So first item here is rent, $475. Not much we can do about that. That seems very reasonable for her income, and I'm assuming she's splitting that with her significant other. Utilities, $83. Again, not much we can do here. Car payment, $250. Again, we discussed that in the debt payment section. I would recommend coming up with a plan to hopefully pay this off early, but otherwise for now, there's really not much we can do about that. Now, the first area of opportunity I see here is the phone bill. So I'm actually going to highlight this one. I'm going to highlight these as we go for some opportunities. She's currently paying $91 a month for her phone. She did not say what exactly that is or who she uses or anything like that. So there could be like a phone payment in here. What I would recommend is switching to another carrier. There's a ton out there now that are way cheaper than this. Personally, I use Mint Mobile. I will leave my link down below if you guys want to check it out. If you've been on my channel for any amount of time, you know how much I love Mint Mobile. I work with them all the time. This video is not sponsored, but I do recommend finding a cheaper solution for your phone because I think $91 is too much. I think we can cut that down to $30, $35 a month. So I would recommend that. This second one is insurance. This is for car and renters. Again, I think there might be an opportunity here. You might be able to get cheaper. I would recommend shopping around if you haven't. I'm not going to put a dollar amount necessarily because I can't say because I don't know all the details and obviously it's very like nuanced for insurance, but I would recommend shopping around trying to find cheaper insurance. Professional insurance, I'm assuming this is for her freelance and that's $57. Medical, $260. Now she didn't say, I believe this is the medical she's paying for, like medical insurance. Again, could potentially maybe find a cheaper option. I would look around. I don't know where you're getting medical right now, but if you are on the marketplace, there may be cheaper options that might be good to look into. There's also some tax savings, I believe, that you could apply potentially. So if you're not already, look around. Another thing I wanted to mention about medical insurance is because you and your significant other have been together for so long, they've been together for 10 years and they are engaged, I would see if your significant other has insurance available through his employer. If you could join his insurance as a domestic partner, it may or may not be cheaper than this. So something to take a look at, but it definitely could maybe save you some money on here. $35 for subscriptions. I feel like that's reasonable. $233 is the minimum for her student loans. Again, nothing we can do about that right now. And $55 for a gym membership. Now I'm gonna highlight this, don't be mad at me, but is there a cheaper option for gym? Maybe if you really love your gym, don't switch, but just highlighting it as a potential opportunity. Now, the one I really wanted to talk about is taxes. So because Alex is freelance, she does set aside money from her freelance into her tax savings, which is very smart. You do need to be doing this. Now, I will say, I think she may be setting aside too much money, which effectively is not benefiting her right now. So what I would recommend is setting aside a little bit less. I believe Pennsylvania has a flat income tax of about 3% based on where you're probably going to fall in the federal income tax brackets, which I'll put a snippet here of what the tax brackets are for 2025. I would recommend instead of setting aside 30%, maybe try setting aside 25%. That is probably going to be more than enough for you to save for taxes and it'll free up a little bit of your budget. So instead of setting aside $735, you could set aside, let me make sure I did that right because I feel like I just did that really fast. So $2,450 times 25% instead of 30. Yes. So $612 instead of the $735. So just by making these two changes, and again, I do have other options for you too, but just for the sake of conversation, we're just going to do these two for now. So that'll be a savings of $61 on the phone and $123. So that will bring your total fixed expenses down to $22.29. So that'll bring your total remaining to $15.41. And that will give you a little bit more breathing room. Let's go ahead and talk about your variable expenses. Now, I probably wouldn't change any of these. They seem very reasonable to me. I didn't see anything that stuck out to me. $150 for transportation. She did say the transportation budget is for electric car charging. So that's actually not gas. It's actually electric car charging. So she said they essentially have zero maintenance on their car right now, which is good. $150 I feel like is reasonable. $300 for groceries, $150 for eating out. She did say these are ambitious, but she is committed to trying to stick to these. So definitely stay on your budget, and $100 for miscellaneous. If you could lower the miscellaneous, that would be great. But again, I feel like it's totally reasonable. So I wouldn't make any changes to the variable expenses, especially because the groceries and eating out are already ambitious for you. So I would not recommend lowering them any further. Now, if we implement the changes that we made for some of these fixed expenses, we would be left with $841 remaining. Currently, we're left with $657 if we don't make any changes here. Again, I feel like we could make a little bit more progress even if we could lower any of these other items, but that's where we're at for now. Sinking funds, she didn't have any sinking funds set aside. I think that's fine. I don't necessarily think that everyone needs sinking funds. I would implement them in the future if you do have a little bit more disposable income, but with what we're working with and the goals we have, I think it looks fine to me for now. So last section down here would be debt and savings. She indicated in there that she really wants to put aside $500 to her Roth IRA because it doesn't seem like, and I don't think she has any retirement through her employers right now. Freelance, obviously, she's working for herself and her admin assistant. I didn't see in there, but I don't think she has any retirement coming out. So I think $500 is great. So I would stick with that. And if we take the $841 that we've edited and we take that $500, that would actually leave us with $341 left over for the emergency fund. So what I would recommend as a course of action here is to figure out what your ideal emergency fund is. Like I said, she already has $4,800 in her emergency fund. As much as you can, trying to reduce any of these expenses that you can, and or trying to increase your income. Now, she did discuss in there that for like mental health and all of those things, this is what feels comfortable for her right now as far as hours, which I totally understand. I would recommend checking your freelance rates. Are you charging high enough for the quality of work that you are doing for these individuals? Keep a market analysis if you can, or contact other freelancers in your area to make sure that you are charging appropriately for your services. If not, increase that, and that'll increase your income right there without having to increase the amount of hours that you're working. As far as your administrative assistant job, I would just maybe take a look elsewhere unless you really love your job. I totally understand that. But if there is other administrative assistant jobs that you could potentially move to that would pay higher, maybe take a look around. Advocate for yourself if you haven't gotten a raise anytime soon. She didn't reference that at all, but if you haven't, advocate for yourself to be getting those annual increases for merit and inflation. So there are ways that you can increase your income without necessarily working more hours. So I would definitely look into that. And like I said, in these highlighted categories, see if you can lower any of these a little bit. I would definitely recommend taking a look at your taxes, and also when you're doing your taxes for 2024, kind of see how that worked. I'm not sure how long she's been working this freelance job, but I would recommend just kind of seeing where you're at for 2024, and that can also help you to figure out how much you're needing to save for 2025 as well. That is the overview for Alex. I really enjoyed doing this. It was super fun. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any advice, tips for Alex, please leave them in the comments down below. I really want this to be an interactive session where we can all give advice. Obviously, I'm just one person. These are just my thoughts, but I would love to hear what you guys think about this budget and her situation in the comments down below. Keep it positive. Again, this is a real person and she's doing amazing. Alex, great job. Thank you so much for submitting your budget review. You are doing a great job and I really enjoyed doing this. So thank you for the opportunity. If you would like a budget review from me, click that link for the budget review form in the bio down below. Bye guys.